Hey everybody, I am experimenting this week. I'm trying to learn new things this week. We shall see if it works. I've got 2 experiments in the works for this week, so please check out my videos. This is the Deluise Book Series, and I'm Kristina, Kristina. I talk books, I read books, and I talk books. And I'm no special effects, nothing. I'm gonna try this week to get a few drop-ins. It may work, it may not work. I don't know. I'm just learning. I could use the subscribers, so if you could please like and subscribe, I'd appreciate it. It's just me reading books, talking books, nothing fancy here. I don't have theme music. I don't have a theme anything. I like to read book series. I like to binge read series. I like to come into existing series that are long running. So we're doing the Lindsay Sands, the Arginos, Carolyn Sparks, the Act Takes Teens, Don't Step on My Computer, Laurel K. Hamilton, the Anita Blake series, J.D. Robb, Eve Dallas series. So we're doing all these series. And this week, I'm binge reading a short series, which I was very upset to learn, and I guess it's old news, but Miss Perry died back in April. But she's got a few series that are really long, so I'm going to try and do a few of those. So we're doing the Elena Standish series. This is book 3. And it's a really good series. It grabbed me, hold my attention. It keeps my attention the whole book. It flows really well. It writes really well. It's really good. So on the outside, Elena Standish is a photographer, and her sister is Margaret Driscoll. Margaret's husband is deceased. He died in World War I. These books take place in 1933-34. And Charles is Margaret and Elena's father, and Catherine is his wife and Elena's mother. Her paternal, or Charles's parents, are Lucas Standish and Josephine Standish. They're both part of MI6, and Lucas used to lead MI6. And Peter Howard is the new leader of MI6, I believe. Aidan Schroeder is the former boyfriend that betrayed her in book 1, or previously, and he is now deceased because he really betrayed her in book 2. Dorothy Baylor and Wyatt Baylor are new characters to this book or this series. They are the maternal grandparents of Elena. They are her mother's parents, and they are very, very filthy rich. Casanova has long hair. And James Allenby is a new character to the series. He's an MI6 operative. Harmon Worth is a massive scientist, and his Lila Worth, it's revealed later that she is also an operative. And Captain Miller is the police, and Max Bordello is the crooked, in my eyes, attorney, although it's not really said. And Mabel and Horace Cartwright are also part of the Free America. Hide your head in the sands. We aren't killing millions of people over in Germany. So anyways, sorry. Check out my last video. I added some pics at the end. I'm going to add some pics at the end to this, or at least I'm going to try. Fingers crossed. If it works. Casanova, don't step on my computer. If you're going to go someplace, go that way. Don't go this way. Don't step on my computer. Okay. So where was I? Oh, it's her grandparents' 60th wedding anniversary. So they're all going for the party. So And Margaret doesn't go because she broke an ankle, and I'm not sure why she didn't go because she broke an ankle. I mean, what's the big deal about a broken ankle? You can get a wheelchair. Wheelchairs did exist way back when, but anyways. So Elena takes lots of pictures at the party. She is a photographer. And even President Roosevelt is there. She meets Mr. and Mrs. Harmon Worth is the scientist, and then Lila Worth is his wife. She meets them. She meets the Cartwrights at the party, and Mabel Cartwright tells Elena, and it's kind of an eerie kind of thing, but I guess it's factual, that Hitler's lady friend was also a photographer. Like, ew. So Helena takes a whole bunch of pictures. Then Miss Lila Worth gets run over in the parking lot by a car, and they have to hurry up and get the Roosevelts out because the Roosevelts can't be considered part of the crime scene. Then Captain Miller shows up to investigate, and apparently she tripped on flat, solid ground and fell and got run over by a car. Elena starts to question it, but Allenby tells her to shush up. She met Allenby during the party. These waters may be deeper than she thinks, and Lila was from Austria. A lady named Constance and hubby George make a big fuss. Then Captain Miller tells them it's a case of murder and they need to interview all the guests. Allenby reveals he's a point of contact sent to her by Peter Howard, the MI6 guy. Then he tells her Lila Worth worked for MI6 and he knows that she does too. Captain Miller insists on taking her camera. She's like, no. I will go with you. We will develop the pictures together. You will have some copies, but these are my picks. So Kennigan calls Peter Howard for James Allenby to tell him about Lila and additional details, and we are given a background information on Lila and how she was giving MI6 information from the scientist community based on the atom bomb. And we all know where that ended up, did we not? And her grandfather is the prime suspect in the murder. The blood was found on his car. Then Peter Howard goes to talk to Lucas about what happened. They believe someone wanted to get rid of both Wyatt Baylor, her grandfather, and Lila, killed two birds with one stone. And we will get to that in my Friday video of Star Trek Next Generation. Oh, and don't forget to check out Flashback Mondays. But where were we with our story? Lucas tells Josephine what happened in Washington and that Elena is involved. Josephine is his wife. Charles and his wife Catherine talk about what happened, and Charles and Elena talk about what happened and about Allenby. Then they hire Max Borrowdale, the family attorney, to help the father out because he's considered the prime suspect. Well, the grandfather, Wyatt. And he... Sorry, my computer shut me off again. We will have to see if I can experiment in merging these videos. I'm learning all new techniques this week. You will have to go through it with me. I'm learning, and I'm just bear with me this week because I am learning some new techniques. So we'll see what happens. We are in the middle of talking about Anne Perry, A Darker Reality, and we have learned that Lila Worth has been murdered and run over in the parking lot of Elena's maternal grandparents' house. They are really rich and they were celebrating their 60th wedding anniversary. So we were at the point where her grandfather is listed as the prime suspect. And then Peter Howard goes to tell Lucas about what happened. He's the MI6 guy, and Lucas is her grandfather. They believe someone wanted to get rid of both Taylor and Lila, two birds with one stone. Again, we will be talking about two birds and one stone in Star Trek Next Generation in our Best of Both Worlds Borg video. And don't forget Flashback Mondays. Oops, sorry, Casanova, did that startle you? It's okay, Casanova. Let me put this back here. where was I? Oh yeah, so Lucas tells Josephine what happened in Washington and that Elena is involved. Then Catherine and Charles talk about what happened. Then Charles and Elena talk about Allenby. And Borrickdale, the family attorney, comes into the picture. He believes, along with everybody else, that Wyatt is being framed. For what purpose, it is as yet unknown. Charles tells Catherine he did not like Max Borrickdale at all, and Mabel and Horace Cartwright come to visit. And Mabel talks about a group called Free America. It's a society, a brotherhood that Wyatt belongs to. Hint. Elena and Catherine, her mother, talk about how afraid they are of all the things Mabel said. Elena talks to Dorothy, her grandmother, about what happened and how she believes it's a good frame. For what reason, she does not know. Elena tells Charles, her dad, about what Dorothy said. Charles goes to speak to Mac Barndale and Captain Miller and tries to see Wyatt in prison. He is unsuccessful with that. Charles speaks with Max Barndale, and it's an unpleasant conversation. He doesn't like anything Max has to say, and most of it is useless, and Max believes it's a very political frame. Charles then goes to speak to Captain Miller, and he too believes it's a political frame. And the captain and him discuss the matter, but the evidence is overwhelming towards the grandfather. Don't step on my computer. So there isn't much he can do. Later in the day, Charles finally gets in to see Wyatt. Wyatt says that it's more complicated. He knew he had enemies, but he didn't know that his enemies were this powerful. Although, if Wyatt himself is an advisor to Roosevelt, you really can't get too much more powerful than that if you have the president's ear, a personal ear. Charles wants Wyatt to think who at the party would benefit from him going to jail. And he's like, everybody. You invite all these people to your party and they don't like you and they have reasons to get rid of you and you still invite them to your party. John Hastings, an MI6 operative, comes in and tells them they've opened Dachau and are rapidly filling it in Berlin, and things are getting worse in Germany and people are just looking the other way. Please see my other video for the rant on this, how I would, if I could go back in time and I wasn't able to change things in my own personal life, because I have regrets higher than the Empire State Building, but I would go back and tell everybody in Germany, Jewish persuasion and some other persuasions, get out! I would also go to Pearl Harbor, get out! I would also tell people not to go into Manhattan on a certain day and not to fly in a plane on a certain day. Hey, I warned you. That was the best I can do. Oh, and if you're the Titanic, if you hit some ice, don't turn. If you're going to hit it here. Don't turn. You turn, and it's going to rip the entire side of your ship open. So don't turn. Sorry. So Elena and Catherine talk about the situation. Elena meets with Allenby for lunch to discuss the situation. And after lunch, they go to the florist to bring flowers to Harmon Worth to pump him for information. And they are successful in pumping him for information. And he reveals a whole bunch of stuff that he knew about Lila. So they get Wyatt released from jail on bond. And before dinner, Charles and Elena talk about the situation and what they should be doing. At dinner, Elena tries to convince her grandma that she must tell them things and not tell the attorney, because Elena believes, although she doesn't say it, but Elena believes that the attorney is crooked. Elena tries to talk to her grandfather, and he believes his enemy set him up, and they talk about Lila and her marriage is settled. She begs her grandfather to tell her what do they want, how do they believe that destroying him can be good for their game or whatever they call it. And then her grandfather reveals that he is a total racist, total believer and supporter of somebody over there in Germany. It's like, really, it's very uneasy. The whole thing is just uneasy. Elena meets with Allenby. She gives him a list of potential suspects her grandfather gave her. Allenby tells her that her grandfather is supporting the Germans by paying for their steel. It's like, oh, good God, really? Allenby tries to tell her, search through her grandfather's stuff, maybe she'll find some information. Captain Miller talks to Wyatt again, and Wyatt is not happy, nor is Borrendale. Captain Miller tells Wyatt everyone's accounted for at the party except him. And then some other things happen. Elena plays porn in a spy conspiracy thing. Lila identity was not released to the press. I didn't know it wasn't until this particular incident happened. And so Harmon says, hey, she was going to meet with XYZ. Elena can go in her place because Elena speaks German and she looks like a sort of kind of. All the guy knows is to expect a female to show up at this place, and she's in her 30s and she's got XYZ. So Elena impersonates Lila and goes to this dinner and meets with the guy. And then as they leave the restaurant, because the guy that she meets with was trying to kidnap her because he doesn't think she's up on the up. And then Allenby comes out and goes, under the authority of the blah, 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 I'm arresting you for treason. Lila Wentworth. Don't step on my computer. And the bad guys take off, but Allenby gets shot in the arm, and they go on pursuit. And the one thing about the pursuit is that Elena is English, and she drives on the other side of the road. Good grief. Then Elena discovers some reveals with her pictures. She took all the pictures during the evening, and she time-stamped. She wrote down in her little notebook approximately when she took each picture. And then she notices that her grandfather was in a couple of the pictures. At the time of the murder, he was in a couple of the pictures. You can see his hand, his ring, whatever. And so they take the pictures to the police, and they clear him before they learn the real truth. And you will not see it coming. Who the real murderer is of Lila Worth. And there is also a cliffhanger ending. So we will have to hurry up and read the next book to find out what happens. And please check out my Friday Star Trek Next Generation vids, my Flashback Mondays. I have canceled Boggle, no one shows up. And my daily book reviews. I will be doing another Anne Perry. I've also got an unboxing to come. And we've got a new Donna Andrews down the pipeline. We got some Arginos, some Spikes. So please stay tuned to the Deluise Book Series channel where we review series books. And I hope you enjoy my Anne Perry binge. Thank you.